So you want to be a writer. You really want to be a writer. You've read articles, you've read blog posts, you've read social media content, and you think that this is really what you want to do. This is the path you really want to thread. Alright, you are in the right place. You are in the right place. You clicked on the right video. I was not always a writer until my early 20s. In fact, I fell in love with writing when I was 22 years old. I was about to turn 23, and that was when I fell in love with writing, and I did not start practicing until I was 24. And I really think I'm a great writer. I am a great writer, even though I'm still in the journey of learning and still practicing different kinds of writing. I'm still learning, and I still really think that I am a great writer. But if this is really what to do, then you are in the right video. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. If you don't already know me, I am Chidera Faith. I am a content writer. I am a copywriter, and I write for everything basically. I'm a marketer. I write marketing writing. I'm learning how to write storytelling writing and how to write literature like writing. So I told you already, you are in the right place. In this video, I'm going to share my story on how I became a writer, on how I started writing, even though I had no previous experience. I studied mathematics in school. I was always a science student. There was never a time where we had to practice writing except for composition in our secondary school and our primary school, which I was not even really interested in until 2022, when I was about to turn 23 years old. So you're in the right place. First of all, this is the story to how I started writing. I'll start by saying I really think that anybody can be a writer. If you really want to be a writer, you will be a writer. All it takes is for you to decide that you want to be a writer, and then the will to always show up. Okay, in writing, you don't always have to overthink anything. You don't always have to overthink everything. You just have to write. You never can tell how good that your writing is. I started back in 2022, and I was 22 years at the time, about to turn 23. And I used to watch Isn't Zara's YouTube channel, and in her videos she used to tell stories of how she started writing, and she would say she was in primary 1, she was in nursery school when she started writing, and I'm like, okay, alright, okay. And then Solomon Buchi's writing, I fell in love with his writing. I love the way he writes. I love the way his sisters write too. His sister writes. And then I came across his post one day where he was saying he started writing way back in primary school and secondary school, that he would always want to impress his teachers with his essay writings and his letters and his compositions and his descriptive essays, and all this kind of writing that they do in secondary school. And then he studied mass communication, where he was always writing. And then I would also go ahead to see videos and blog posts and articles of great writers where they will say, they say back in secondary school, they say back in primary school. This one would say she and her friends used to write stories, and they would exchange it, and they will read their stories, and they will write more stories, and then they will read their story, and they will write more and write more and write more. Then the big question came up: how do I want to compete with these people? How would I be able to write as beautifully as they do? Because everybody is saying, they say when they were little, they say when they were small. This is me wanting to start at this my big age at 22 years old. And then I started comparing myself with them. I compared them really, but I did not compare them as to wanting to be better than them. I compared their writings because I considered their writing good writings, and if I was going to be able to write like them, then it would take me the amount of time it took them to learn. So I gave up. I did what every normal person would do. I gave up writing. I did not know where to start from. Like, where am I supposed to start from? I don't even have anything to do. I'm studying mathematics in school. All I did all my life was sciences, and the little writings we did in school, I did not even pay attention. I didn't really want to learn about it, and now I'm trying to. So I gave up, right? I gave up the dream of being a writer. But then I don't know, I think some part of it stayed with me. So as time went on, I'm about to turn 24 now. I've turned 23 and I'm about to turn 24. I've graduated from uni and I'm about to turn 24. And I don't know, the spark came back. I decided to keep the dream alive. At this time, I've not started practicing writing, but I just decided to keep the dream alive. And like, I think I could really be a great writer, even though I'm not going to get paid for it, even though my writings will not be published anywhere, even though I'm not going to be seen as a great writer. I think I'm just going to write for fun. I'm just going to write. So I kept it during my life, kept on reading writers, reading their articles, watching their videos, watching how they tell their stories, just being intrigued, until one day I came across a post on Facebook where this girl said, if you want to learn how to write, at this time I believed that I could write. So I started practicing small, just writing very short phrases and sentences, and just exercising my creativity muscle in writing. I just started practicing. At the time I didn't think I was practicing. I thought I would just write, and I would write birthday posts, write captions, and then until I came across this post where somebody said, if you want to learn how to write, just write as you talk. Start by writing as you talk. Just start by writing as you talk. And this brings me to my first point. If you really want to learn how to write, start by writing as you talk. Don't try to impress anybody. Don't try to prove anything to anybody. Don't try to prove that you're a great writer. Just write as you speak. And then I started writing as I spoke. Ooh. I felt the spark come alive. Each time I wanted to write, I felt the spark come alive. I wrote as I spoke. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. After some time, I realized that, oh my god, my writing is sounding the same. There are no new ideas. There are no new words. I'm still sounding the same. There's no improvement. I'm just still sounding the same. Then, one day, I decided to pick up a book to read. I read that book. I read it again and I read it again, and when I pick up my phone to write, I realize that the words from that book is what I would write, because each time I read something that somebody has written, it kind of stick. Sometimes I speak and I don't know where the words I'm speaking about came from, but I just know that I'm speaking something that is correct. And that is because I have seen it in a book. I've checked it, I've checked the meaning and it's correct, and I've seen it in a book, and then I just randomly speak. Now, when it comes to writing, write as you speak, right? I just randomly write and the words just comes out. And then I realized that from that book, I started writing things that I had read in that book. And I realized that you have to read a lot. This brings me to my second point. If you want to learn how to be a writer, you have to read a lot. You have to read a lot of articles. You have to read a lot of blog posts. You have to watch a lot of videos. And now, when you're doing this, you have to be intentional. Maybe before you would just read and entertain yourself, but now you have to be really intentional. Pick up new words. Try to form new sentences. Maybe you read a place in a book where you really like, and then you just take off your eyes from that side, from that part of the book, and try to form a new sentence or new phrase or new words in your head. You don't always have to pick up your pen, and as you're reading, you're writing down things. For me, that is stressful. I don't know if that will work for you, but for me, I think it's very stressful. So I don't really do that. But as I read, I just try to put those things in my own words in my head, and I just continue reading. And I say that each time I pick up my phone to write, the words keep flowing. And I want to use this point to tackle that writer's block that writers always complain about. I know I'm not a great writer. No, I take that back. I am a great writer, but I know that I have not been writing for as long as these writers have been writing. But I really think that you can combat writer's block by reading a lot. Take in more than you pour out. Now, this is not me saying don't pour out more. I'm just saying you pour out so much, but the one you take in, let it be more than what you pour out. So you should read more than how you write, because as you write, it's what is inside of you that you are putting down on paper, right? So always read more, read books, read articles, and be intentional when you are reading it. Don't just read for entertainment purposes. Read to learn. You can also read for entertainment, but most times read to learn. Okay. Now, as I did this, I practiced and practiced. Before I realized that practicing helps, I realized that if I stayed too long away from writing and reading, coming back was always difficult. So this brings me to my next point. Practice. Always practice. Anything. I've noticed that every single thing in this life that we do, for you to be a master at anything at all, you need to practice. Think about cooking. One day, I ate a food I bought from one mama puts, and that food was so sweet. All her soups used to be sweet. And I asked my friend, it's not the same method, it's not the same things we use. Why is this soup so sweet like this? And the girl told me it's her hand, meaning it's because she had always done it, that is why it's that sweet. So practice makes what? Let's get to the next point. Now, I think this should be the last point. Do not compare your writings. Do not compare your writing. So this is something that I struggled with for the longest time. I used to compare my writing with every writing I see out there. Every beautiful writing I think is beautiful that I see out there, I would always compare my writings with their own. I would think that, okay, I think they write so beautifully and so well, and it's because I will not give them credit. It's because they had started writing from when they were very small. Then I think I have the spirit of resilience, but I will not like stop writing because I feel like my writing is small. I will just give them their credit but continue writing until one day somebody commented on one of my posts on Facebook, and the girl said, "You inspire me a lot. Your writings are so beautiful. Like, I really like reading what you write." My writing, which day did I start writing now? Well, that moment was it for me. Like, I was so happy, I was so excited, I was so thrilled, and that boosted my ego, that boosted my esteem to an extent, to a very large extent, because if you read by writing, you will know that I can write. So I knew that I could write, but I would always compare my writing. But what that girl told me that day boosted my ego. Like, you cannot touch me. Like, my shoulder pads were high, but I still struggle sometimes with writing, because listening to me now, you would say that I have filler words. Like, I always use filler words. I always use like. But we are getting there. Little by little. I would really like to put this out there. There are no rules to writing. If you want to learn how to write, forget about the rules and just start writing. Where you would see rules are when people want specific kinds of writing, like maybe copywriting, content writing, narrative writing, descriptive writing, and all those kinds of writing. In essays, you're writing my phone almost fell from where I kept it, and I'm holding it now. I don't want it to fall. So in case you're wondering why I'm like this, I'm trying to hold my phone. We're almost done with the video, so let's hurry up. I know rules to writing, except people want specific kinds of writing. Maybe you want to go into marketing and you want to start writing copies, like copywriting. There are specific kinds of writing. You cannot just go there and be trying to massage somebody's ego. There are rules, like you will have to mention people's pains, mention their frustrations and problems in order to deliver what that writing requires. Now, if you want to just start writing. Don't forget about the rules for now and start writing. Maybe take a month to just write, or 2 weeks, depending on how efficient you are. Okay? Yeah, this has brought us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I am Chidera Faith, and I am a writer, and I will see you in my next video. I think I'm becoming consistent on this channel, and I love it, but I hope I don't go back to my former ways though. Please subscribe to my channel to encourage me to keep posting, and like this video, share this video, tell your friends who are interested in writing about this video, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.